What's happening, everyone? Michael Levis here. I asked my future scheduled guests to adapt their advice and responses to current times. This is a COVID-19 special edition where I will ask entrepreneurs how this current epidemic is affecting their business and life and what their advice is for you. I get it, Life Nation. I'm not just a podcast host. I'm an entrepreneur, just like you. My companies are having to pivot and innovate just to stay afloat, and I'm hearing it from guests and colleagues alike. Stay motivated, refocus, and trust me that those companies and individuals who truly strategize to get through this will flourish when it inevitably comes to an end.
You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Michael Levis.
What's happening, everybody? Today I'm chatting with Jordanna Eyre. Jordanna is the founder of Modern Day Sorcerer and Sorcerer School, the next step for conscious leaders. Jordanna has spent 30 years cultivating and honoring the modern day sorcerer methodology, one that brings the metaphysical, scientific, and pragmatic teachings of power to leadership and business. Jordanna and her methodologies have helped thousands of leaders around the world develop clear purpose and embody the power and influence they were put on this planet to contribute. Jordanna, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being on. So tell our listeners something interesting about yourself and also where you're calling in from today.
All right. Well, I'm calling in from the mountains of Georgia called Cherry Log, Georgia. We moved here 3 weeks ago, so I kind of feel like I got teleported to a new land, but it's gorgeous.
Awesome.
Something interesting about myself. Well, what I do for a living, I am a sorceress, which, nuts and bolts is that I do conscious leadership work. So I support leaders in really rising into that consciousness of leadership that they know they're meant to have. But I am a sorceress. That's how I do it. So that is, I suppose, something that most people don't have.
Absolutely. So you're the name of the company is Modern Day Sorcerer. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
And so tell our listeners a little bit about what it is that you do as a modern day sorcerer.
So it is not witchcraft. There's no magic wands, no cauldrons. One of the key elements of what a sorcerer holds is this knowing of what is possible with power, with like a truer sense of power. So a sorcerer stands as a leader who dissolves any of the false power, the stuff in the world that is not power, to help flow through a deeper, truer sense of power. So imagine like having the fierceness that somebody like Gandhi had, the compassion that somebody like Jesus, the presence that a Buddha. I teach leaders how to have that form of power in their leadership. That's what a sorcerer really does.
How does that specifically help, let's say, entrepreneurs and or business leaders within their specific organizations?
So the leaders that I work with apply it in all sorts of different ways. So you can boil it down to anything from client acquisition. It makes client acquisition a lot easier. The leaders that I work with, actually, they're able to get a broader clientele. They can even use this work to develop more of a niche in their. I've had people say literally there's no more competition any longer. You can use it. I've had leaders use it to garner investment. So where there might be power struggles with investors or investors just don't see what you can see, all of that is shiftable. And you can also use it to develop bigger influence in your leadership.
So, Jordanna, given our current situation here with the COVID-19 outbreak and so many business owners, of course, going through such a tough time throughout just worldwide, obviously, can you share if this has affected your business personally?
Not really, actually. That's not true. Yes, it has, for the better. So there was a little bit of wonkiness at first, some clients having a little bit of financial freak out. Most of my clients, because they were already actively doing the work, were able to really deepen into what was necessary in their businesses as well. So most of my clients haven't experienced massive downturn, or those that have known how to take the gift from it because they're doing this work already, right? But really, it's brought in more opportunity. So we are far busier now as a result.
How has that happened in terms of the shift to being busier, you feel?
So I believe that the planet has been rising into new levels of consciousness for a really long time.
Sure.
COVID brought that on. So it helped to wake a lot of people up and go, holy crap, I have to make a bigger contribution. Or, oh, this thing that I knew this service I'm supposed to provide, or this way that I have a client, for example, who's in supply chain.
Cool.
Really busy, like things
Yeah.
he's slammed. He needed the work now more than ever. So the need for powerful leadership is arising within people more than ever.
What advice or specific advice would you give to current business owners out there that are having to lay off, all their employees or possibly even shut their doors?
Advice to current business. There's so many things that I could say there. One thing I would say is, like, if you can develop presence within yourself before you have to do it, because having to do something that sucks as a leader is no fun for anyone. There is a greater element in which, unfortunately, but also fortunately, it maybe is in the best interest. I've only so far seen people being let go of jobs that they didn't actually like, or that deep down they wanted to release in the end. But instead of just remembering that as the business owner or the leader, I would suggest that you deepen into a space of presence before you do it, so that whatever that crunchy conversation is can be had with a sense of lightness and in a way that turns out to be in the best interest of all.
What's happening, Life Nation? Michael Levis here. This is a time to do the right thing, not the profitable thing. I'm giving away COVID-19 business strategy sessions for free. I promise to give you my honest advice and coach you on a strategy that I feel would be best for the longevity of your business. I'm not asking you for your money, but in the interest of being able to help as many people as I can, I am asking you to be ready with your 1 to 2 specific questions so we can jump right into it. Go to michaellevis.com/coaching and simply schedule a call on my calendar. That's MIKEOLIVAS.com/coaching. There's so many people out there that are looking at this, and unfortunately, let's just say likely the common Joe might be just consuming way too much, crap content, if you will, that's being on the news, et cetera. What kind of advice can you give to the business and life listeners that are entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, those that are interested, obviously in different types of industries and business that are on the show? What kind of advice would you give them to make sure that they're really just making sure their mindset is protected?
So the protection of mindset, I tend to approach mindset from a deeper place.
Great.
So what I would say is to be really, really, really honest with what your mindset is. So if you're noticing where your mind wants to go to what you fear or what you don't want, I would suggest developing a space of emotional work. So if you turn your mindset work into emotional work, that will protect your mindset in the long run so that it's stronger, so that you actually transform why your mind is clinging and the undercurrents, and it doesn't do that any longer. That makes sense.
Yeah. How do you turn it? How do you, add on to that, how do you turn it into emotional work, if you will?
So, it's actually, I teach DNA transformations. There's a lot of different systems. If I can just offer one thing that would help you turn it into emotional work, connecting more to your body. So if you have a practice, whether it's a physical practice every day or even just, consciously connecting your mind with your body, that will help the thoughts that you want to transform. It will help you find the feeling inside of them that will ultimately, and it is a practice and there's a lot of systems at play, but it will ultimately help you shift from the thought to the feeling into it being emotional processing, which will actually transform your thoughts. It will transform so that, instead of looking at the fear, you will look at the possibility because you shifted the emotional aspects of it.
Who's a really good fit for your service? Do you feel you've been able to carve out a niche within your clientele?
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's taken me years and years and years to figure it out because
Sure.
I don't serve a certain type of person. I'm industry agnostic. I work with very high level leaders, Fortune 50 companies, and then also people that know they're meant to be leaders but aren't yet. The end all be all of who is a fit It's someone who's got a right and a left brain that is both really, really strong. Often they're at conflict with each other, and we work on connecting them. So it's not people who only want to be left brain, although if they are only left brain and they want to bring in the right brain, they're a fit too. They also tend to be more sensitive. So not all of my clients are openly sensitive. Not all of them know how to experience emotion when they begin the work, but it tends to be the people who really care, who have really big hearts, want to make a big contribution, and there's some level of sensitivity that can sometimes be getting in the way, and we help to dissolve that.
If our listeners wanted to learn more about what it is that you do and get some more information, where can they find you and some more information, I guess, on your website?
Yeah, so my website is moderndaysorcerer.com. It's SORCERER, moderndaysorcerer.com. We have so many free goodies there. There's a free leadership training, a free workbook, a free web class, and tons of blogs, videos, etc.
And out of all of your successes and failures, of course, in business, what's the one piece of parting advice that you would give to the business and life listeners out there today?
One piece of go towards your contribution. Go towards, it's like right now, maybe you have fears around money, or maybe there's job insecurity, and that's all like, it's part of your process. Keep going towards that thing that your soul just knows, that part of you that remembers how powerful you're meant to be. Go towards the contribution, go towards the service, go towards what you want to contribute to the planet. And that's going to bring you to the money, to the more quintessential power as well.
Jordanna, that was awesome. Thank you so much for your time and dropping some knowledge with us today.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Libas, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do, so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.